My father's lawyer had barely opened the final copy of the will when my sister-in-law suddenly stood up with a confident smile. "There is no reason to waste everyone's time," Victoria said loudly. "My husband is the oldest son, so everything belongs to him." Ryan, my older brother, smiled proudly beside her. A few relatives nodded in agreement. One uncle quietly said, "That's how it has always been." Another cousin agreed without thinking twice. I didn't say a single word. The lawyer, Mr. Harrison, slowly looked at Victoria. Then he looked at me. He removed his glasses, paused for a moment, and suddenly laughed. It wasn't a polite laugh or a small chuckle. He laughed so hard that everyone in the room stared at him in shock. Victoria's smile quickly disappeared. She looked embarrassed and confused. She had expected everyone to support her, but instead the room became completely silent. Mr. Harrison finally stopped laughing and placed his glasses back on the table. "I'm sorry," he said calmly. "I normally remain professional during estate meetings, but your statement shows a complete misunderstanding of both the law and your father-in-law's wishes." Victoria frowned. "What do you mean?" "Ryan is the oldest son. That fact," Mr. Harrison replied, "has absolutely nothing to do with who inherits this estate." His words filled the room with whispers. "My name is Emily Carter. I'm 30 years old, and I have served in the United States Army for more than 10 years. Military life taught me that respect is earned through responsibility and hard work, not through titles or age. Those lessons helped me through many difficult situations. But nothing prepared me for what happened after my father's funeral." My father, Robert Carter, spent 40 years building a successful manufacturing company. Through patience, honesty, and discipline, he created a business worth nearly $11 million. Even after becoming wealthy, he never lived like a rich man. He drove an old pickup truck, wore simple clothes, and believed that a person's character mattered far more than money. During his final years, I visited him whenever I could get military leave. I drove him to doctor's appointments, helped him organize important documents, paid bills when he asked, and spent time simply talking with him. Those moments became more valuable than I ever realized. Ryan, on the other hand, visited much less often, most of the time. He came during holidays or when he wanted to discuss business opportunities, investments, or money. I never judged him for that. I hoped he simply showed his love differently. After Dad's funeral, the entire family gathered inside Mr. Harrison's office. The conference room felt heavy with sadness. Family photographs decorated one wall. Large folders sat neatly on the polished table. Everyone knew why we were there, even if nobody wanted to admit it. Ryan sat comfortably beside Victoria. Every few minutes she whispered something into his ear, and both of them smiled with complete confidence. It looked as if they already believed the estate belonged to them. Mr. Harrison cleared his throat. "Thank you all for coming today," he began. "We are here to carry out Mr. Robert Carter's final legal instructions exactly as he requested." Before he could continue, Victoria interrupted him. "There is really no need for all of this," she said confidently. "Ryan is the oldest son. Everyone knows the family business, and everything else automatically belonged to him." Again, several relatives nodded. Mr. Harrison calmly folded his hands. "Mrs. Carter," he asked, "are you certain you want that statement made in front of everyone present?" "Absolutely," she answered without hesitation. "It's common sense." The lawyer quietly smiled. Then came the laughter that changed everything. When the room finally became quiet again, Mr. Harrison opened another folder. 3 years ago, he explained, Robert Carter completely reorganized his estate. Ryan leaned forward. "What do you mean?" "Every major asset," the lawyer answered, "including the manufacturing company, investment accounts, properties, and personal belongings, was transferred into a carefully designed family trust." Ryan looked surprised. "A trust?" "Yes." Victoria immediately crossed her arms. "That doesn't matter. Family tradition says the oldest son inherits everything." Mr. Harrison gently interrupted her. "Family tradition does not replace legally signed estate. Planning documents, he opened another file and continued, "Your father expected that. Someone might make exactly this argument one day. The room became quiet again. He specifically instructed me to explain that no beneficiary would receive assets based on birth order." I noticed Ryan slowly losing the confidence. He had walked into the room with Mr. Harrison. Continued reading from the documents. Robert Carter believed that leadership should always be earned through responsibility, honesty, loyalty, and consistent actions. He removed several handwritten pages from the folder during his final years. He carefully documented many important events. He lifted the first page. This record lists every hospital visit. Then another. This one records financial meetings. Another page followed. This one shows maintenance decisions involving his business and rental properties. He looked around the room. Do you know what all of these records have in common? Nobody answered. The same name appears beside almost every entry. He looked directly at me. Emily. My heart began beating faster. Mr. Harrison continued. Robert wrote down who attended specialist appointments with him. He turned another page. Who reviewed tax documents. Another page. Who answered emergency phone calls. Another. Who stayed late helping organize paperwork. Every page carried my name. Then he looked at Ryan. He also kept records of every conversation that focused mainly on loans, inheritance, future ownership, or financial requests. Ryan slowly lowered his eyes. Victoria stepped forward. This is ridiculous, she said angrily. Ryan is still the oldest son. Mr. Harrison remained completely calm. No, Mrs. Carter. He carefully closed the folder. It changes everything. Then he reached beneath the stack of legal papers and removed a large, cream-colored envelope sealed with dark blue wax. Across the front, written in my father's familiar handwriting, were 7 simple words: to my children. Read this together at the end. The room became completely silent. Mr. Harrison gently rested his hand on the envelope. I believe, he said quietly, Robert Carter should now speak for himself. No one moved. Even the ticking of the old grandfather clock outside the office suddenly sounded loud. The lawyer carefully broke the wax seal, unfolded the letter, and began reading, my children. If you are hearing these words, then my journey has come to an end. I hope you remember me not because of what I owned, but because of the values I tried to teach you. Continue the story with part 2. Keeping the same simple English style and the complete story without leaving anything out.